count now on Hodges. Next pitch from Gardner is going to be inside, ball 2. 2-1 count now. Winds are whipping here inland side, so it could be a little bit of trouble if ball's put in the air. Next pitch is going to be a grounder fielded by the pitcher Gardner. Gardner is going to throw it, and it's going to hit the runner Hodges as he's going to reach first base on the throwing error by the pitcher Gardner. So no outs, runner on first base, and the second baseman Jay Accord will step in for his first plate appearance this evening. Gardner looks in, has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be on the outside corner, called strike 1. 0-1 count now on Accord. Hodges with his lead off first base. Gardner checks him over there, fires in, and that ball is going to be hit down the left field line, and that's going to be over the head of Ridgway, and it's going to roll all the way to the fence. Hodges coming around third base, and he'll get the stop sign there, as that will be a double for Jay Accord, the second baseman. Now batting is going to be the center fielder, Chase Shea, with 2 on and nobody out. Runners at second and third for Liberty here in the top of the first inning. Once again, this is a huge game for the Mavericks. It is a regional game. Gardner in the windup, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball to the third baseman. And he's going to get the runner out at third base is Bryson Parker, as Hodges gets caught up at third base on the ground ball, and he will be out. That'll be 1 out. And Chase Shea will be on with the fielder's choice. Good play there by the freshman Bryson Parker. As runners on first and second with 1 out. And the cleanup batter, the catcher, Isaac Williams, stepping to the plate. First pitch from Gardner. Going to be called strike 1 right at the knees. 0-1 count now on the cleanup hitter, Williams. Gardner checking Accord at second base, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher. He's going to fire over to third, and that's going to get the runner out at third base. Heads up play there by the senior, Peyton Gardner, as he fields the ball. Turns, Bryson Parker standing on third base, fires over, and that's going to be the second out of the first inning. Runners on first and second as Isaac Williams will reach on the fielder's choice. And now the pitcher, Braden Keith, is going to step in to the box. 2 on with 2 out. First pitch from Gardner, swung on a miss, strike 1. Oh, 1 count now on Keith. Gardner checks the runner at second, winds and fires, and it's going to be just on the outside corner, ball 1. 1-1 count now on the pitcher, Braden Keith. Looking in, checking the sign, has what he wants, winds and fires, and that ball is going to get by Taylor. And he's going to fire over to third. And Shea and Williams are going to advance on the pass ball. That's going to be a 2-1 count now on Keith. Pass ball puts 2 runners in scoring position for the Raiders here in the top of the first. Wind up and the pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher once again. He's going to field it and flip it over to Tyson Meadows at first base. And that's going to be the end of the top of the first as the Mavericks get out of danger. No runs, one hit, no errors, and the Mavericks coming to bat in the bottom of the second. We'll be right back. And we're back here at James Monroe. Mavericks get out of a jam in the top of the first inning as the Liberty Raiders put on, I lost count, 5-6 runners. A couple fielders' choice, but they left two on base, and so the Mavericks will be batting here in the bottom of the first. Leading off for the Mavericks will be the shortstop tonight, Carson Cohen. And the first pitch from Keith is going to be in the dirt, ball one. 1-0 count now on the leadoff hitter for the Mavericks, Carson Cohen. Cohen with that small strike zone had 3 walks the other night against Princeton. And that's going to be a base hit down in the gap. And it'll be cut off there by the left fielder on a good play, but that's going to be a base hit to lead off the bottom of the first for the Mavericks. And now batting is going to be the center fielder, Cameron Crislet. Once again, the 2 slot normally is Caden Hines, but Hines is still out with that lower back injury right now. So Cameron Chrislett will be in, and the first pitch is going to be a bunt. And he's going to score. Carson Cohen will score on an error by the catcher, and then another error by the center fielder. So that's going to be 1-0 Mavericks. So on 1 count now on Cameron Chrislett. Pitch from Keith, and that's going to be bunt. Once again pulled back. 1-1 count now on the center fielder. Wind up, and the pitch from Keith is going to be a ground ball to the third baseman. Third baseman's going to pick it up, fire it over to first, and get him just by a step, as that's going to be 1 out. In the bottom of the first, good play there by the third baseman, Logan Ellis, firing over to the first baseman, Braylon Gano. And that'll be 1 out for the Mavericks with Peyton Gardner stepping into the dish. First pitch from Keith is going to be in the dirt, ball 1. 1-0 count now on Gardner. Keith has his sign, winds and fires. That's going to be in the dirt, ball 2. 2-0 count now on Gardner. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be swung on and missed. Strike 1. 2-1 count now. Gardner a little ahead of that pitch right there. Next pitch from Keith is going to be swung on and missed again. 2-2 count now on Gardner. And Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a curveball, swung on and missed. Strike 3. That's going to be 2 outs with the third baseman, Bryson Parker, stepping to the plate. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled back as Parker was all over that first pitch there. 0-1 count now on third baseman cleanup hitter Bryson Parker. Keith has his sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a curveball, and he did go around on that one. 0-2 count now on Parker. Keith looking in, has what he wants, winds and fires, and that's going to be a foul ball into the Maverick dugout. As it's still 0-2 count now. Keith looking into the catcher Williams, has what he wants, a wind up and a pitch, ball outside. 1-2 count now. This will be the 14th pitch of the inning for Braden Keith. And the wind up and the pitch. It's going to be high, ball 2. 2-2 count now on Parker. He was 0-2, worked the count back to 2-2. With 2 outs, nobody on for the Mavericks here in the bottom of the first. Wind up and the pitch. Swung on a miss, strike 3, and that will end the bottom of the first. But the Mavericks take a 1-0 lead on a two Liberty Raider errors, first by the catcher and then the center fielder. Mavericks up 1-0. We're going to the top of the second. We'll be right back. And we are back here in Linside, top of the second inning. Mavericks up 1-0 over the Liberty Raiders. First batter up will be the third baseman, Logan Ellis. First pitch from Gardner, just outside, ball 1. 13 pitches in that first inning for Gardner. Gardner looks in. The Taylor has what he wants. Winds and fires. Swung on a miss. Strike 1. 1-1 count now on Ellis. Gardner has what he wants. Winds and fires. Called strike on the inside corner. 2-1 count now, or 1-2 count on third baseman Ellis. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled back. It'll stay a 1-2 count. Gardner has a sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled back as well. It will stay a 1-2 count. I'm kind of just hoping that one right there didn't hit my car because I'm parked right behind home plate. Gardner has a sign, winds and fires, and Ellis is going to be hit in the shoulder by a pitch, and that's going to put the leadoff batter on here in the top of the second for the Liberty Raiders. Now coming to the plate is going to be the right fielder, Jordan Hodges. First pitch, and that's going to be a pass ball. Ellis is going to take second base on that pass ball by Peyton Gardner. 1-0 count now on Jordan Hodges. Tying run in scoring position for the Raiders. Pitch from Gardner, and that's going to be popped up to the shortstop, Cohen. He calls everybody off and does not make the catch. As that's going to be a tough error there on the shortstop, Cohen. As we have 2 on and nobody out, and the first baseman, Braylon Gano will step to the dish. Time taken by the batter, as both Ellis and Hodges getting a pretty sizable lead at first and second base. First pitch from Gardner is going to be fouled off. Strike one. Gano looked like he was all over that first pitch there from Gardner. See if he tries to mix things up here in the at-bat. Gardner checks the runner at second base, winds and fires, and that's going to be a pass ball. As Taylor's going to fire it over to third, and he's going to be safe in there. Is going to be Ellis on the slide. Close play there. But now runners are at second and third with nobody out. And a 1-1 count to the number 8 hitter, Gano. Gardner in the windup, winds and fires, swung on a miss, strike two. A 1-2 count now on Gano. Gardner winds and fires, and that's a changeup, swung on a miss, strike three. There's one out. Runners on second and third with one out, and the number 9 hitter, Cameron Accord, the left fielder, coming to the plate. Back-to-back lefties here for the Liberty Raiders. First pitch is going to be inside and low, ball one. 1-0 count on the number 9 hitter, Accord. Gardner has his sign in the full windup, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball to the first baseman, Meadows. Meadows is going to field it, tag first base, and the runner's going to be out. That's going to be Cameron Accord, but he will get the runner in from third. That's going to be Ellis, and that'll tie your ball game at 1 with 2 outs, runner on third. And the leadoff hitter, Parker Hodges, stepping to the plate. First pitch to Hodges is going to be low, ball one. 1-0 count now with Jordan Hodges at third base. And that's going to be a ball hit to the left fielder, Ridgway. Ridgway is going to make the catch. Hat flies off, and he still makes the catch, and that's going to be the end of the top of the second. Liberty ties it up 1-1, and we'll be right back with the bottom of the second.
All right, tonight is Military Appreciation Night. Good evening, everyone. We're thrilled to be hosting this special Military Appreciation Night. Tonight, we want to express our deepest gratitude for the service and sacrifice of our military personnel. We're incredibly grateful for your courage, your dedication, and your commitment to protecting our country. Your service is not just appreciated, it's honored. Tonight, we want to show our support and appreciation for all of you. If you are actively serving or have served in any capacity, please stand to be recognized at this time.
I'm doing what I do best right now.
Thank you to the Liberty Raiders also for showing your support as well.
And we are back here in the bottom of the second. Once again, we'd like to thank all military that is serving and has served. We appreciate your service. And the first pitch to Bailey Ridgway is going to be inside. Ball one from Braden Keith. 15 pitches in that first inning for Keith. Next pitch from Keith to Ridgway is going to be outside. 2-0 count now. Keith working fast here, has the sign, winds and fires, swung on a miss, strike one. And a 2-1 count now on the left fielder, Bailey Ridgway. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball to the third baseman, Ellis. Ellis is going to double pump, fire over to first baseman, Gano, and that's going to be the first out here in the bottom of the first. Now batting is going to be the catcher, number 5, Levi Taylor. Taylor's going to step in left-handed here to start his night. First pitch from Taylor is going to be outside, ball one. And the windup and the pitch going to be outside. 2 balls, no strikes. On the number 6 batter, Levi Taylor. Winds and fires. Ball 3. 3-0 count now on Taylor. Count. Taylor is a true freshman. Probably doesn't have the green light unless it's right down the middle. 3-0 count is going to be ball 4. And that's going to be a 1-out walk. Now batting is going to be the first baseman, number 14, Tyson Meadows, as we're going to have a courtesy runner for the catcher. That's going to be number 4, Dylan Anthony. So Keith will now go into the stretch. First pitch to Meadows, going to be on the outside corner. Ball, strike called, strike one. 0-1 count on the first baseman, Meadows. Anthony takes his lead, pickoff move over first, and he's back in there diving the back of the bag, safe. Keith checking into Williams. Anthony gets a lead off first base, winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled off. 0-2 count on Meadows. Bottom of the second, one out here. Anthony gets his lead. Meadows takes strike three. Looked a little low from up here, but it's called strike three. And that's going to be 2 outs, bringing up the right fielder, Jordan Baker, with Anthony over there at first base. First pitch from Keith to Baker is going to be high, ball one. Keith checks Anthony over there at first, winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled off. 1-1 count on Baker. One count on Baker. Keith checks Anthony at first, fires over to first, and he's back in there on the back of the bag, just in there safely. Anthony making Keith work over there on the mound. Gets his lead, gets a little bit bigger lead. Keith checks him. And the ball's going to be thrown behind Baker, and that's going to be a wild pitch, sending Anthony to second base. And that's going to be a 2-1 count now on Jordan Baker. Go ahead run in scoring position with 2 outs for the Mavericks here in the bottom of the second. Keith checks Anthony at second base, winds and fires inside. 3-1 count now with the number 9 hitter on deck, Tanner Johnson. Keith has his sign, winds and fires. Called strike on the outside corner. That'll be a full count with 2 outs. Keith looks into Williams, has the sign, comes from the stretch, winds and fires. And that's going to be high, ball 4, and that's going to get off the catcher's mid as Anthony's going to take third. Baker will go to first on the walk. And that'll bring up second baseman number 10, Tanner Johnson, with runners on, first and third, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. 1-1 your ball game so far. 32 pitches so far for Keith. First pitch to Johnson is going to be called strike 1, outside corner. A 1 count. Keith has the sign, winds and fires outside, ball 1, as Baker will take second on the defensive indifference. So 2 in scoring position for Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and it's going to be outside. 2-1 count now with the leadoff batter Cohen on deck. Keith looking into Williams, has the sign, comes set, pick off at third base, and that's not even close as Anthony gets back in there safely. Keeping the runner there at third base honest. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, fouled off. 2-2 count with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Keith back on the mound, looks into Williams, has the sign, comes set, and a pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher, Keith, as he's got plenty of time, flips it over to the first baseman, Gano, and that's going to end the inning. No runs for the Mavericks as they threaten with two at second and third. We'll go to the third, all tied up 1-1. Be right back. We're back here, top of the third inning. Mavericks and Raiders all locked up 1-1. As the first batter will be second baseman number 24, Jay Accord. Accord with a base hit his first time to left field. "27 pitches so far for Gardner through 2 innings. And the windup and the pitch. Curveball outside, swung on a miss, strike one. Gardner has the sign. Winds and fires. Fastball, swung on a miss, 0-2. 0-2 count now on Accord. Gardner looks in, shakes off the first pitch, has what he wants, winds and fires, and it's going to be high, ball one. 1-2 count now on Accord. And wind up and the pitch, fouled off. 1-2 count. Big inning here for Gardner as it's 2-3-4 coming up for the Raiders. He can get them out here. The Mavericks will come up with top of the order in the bottom of the third. Gardner steps off the back of the mound, back on. Has what he wants, winds and fires, and that's going to be high. 2-2 count now on Accord. Wind up and the pitch, fouled off. Accord battling here with 2 strikes. We got a 2-2 count once again. Gardner back on the mound, looking into Taylor. Has what he wants, winds and fires. And that's going to be a ground ball, foul, almost coming up here into the booth. As me and the cameraman both got out of the way pretty quick of that one. 2-2 count once again, and that's going to be fouled off once again as we've got a battle going here. This is going to be the 7th pitch of this at-bat as Accord was down 0-2. Gardner has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a foul ball once again. We're going to be the 8th pitch of this at-bat. Gardner has the sign, winds and fires, and he finally gets him on the outside, swung on and missed, strike 3. That'll be 1 out here in the top of the third. And the center fielder, Chase Shea, will step to the dish. before the pitch is thrown. Umpire calls time as he needs to clean the plate off, do a little bit of housekeeping there. And now we're ready to be back in action here. Gardner winds and fires, and that first pitch is going to be fouled back. Looked like a curveball there. First pitch from Gardner, and Shea was all over that one. That's going to be 0-1 count. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be just on the outside corner. 1-1 count. Gardner reaching his 40th pitch here. Wind and fire. That's going to be outside. 2-1 count now on Chase Shea. Gardner back on the mound. Has what he wants. Wind up and a pitch. And I think it was going to be a called strike if the catcher is able to hang on to it, but it's called ball 3 on the outside. So it's going to be 3-1 count now on Shea. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be a ball hit to left field. And that ball is gone. That's going to be a long home run for the center fielder, Chase Shea. And that's going to bring your score 2-1 here in the top of the third in favor of Liberty. Three-one count there. Gardner done what he was supposed to do. He challenged him with a fastball, and just like Monday evening when Hines challenged May with a fastball on a 3-1 count, and the batter got the best of it. And we've got an appeal to home plate there, as everybody was chaotic there around the plate and just wanted to make sure that Shea touched the plate, and the umpire made the confirmation that he did. So we're back to action here. First pitch to Williams is going to be inside, ball 1. And a pitch outside, 2-0. Gardner's going to take a second, step off the back of the mound, collect himself. And he's back on. And the pitch to Williams is going to be off speed, swung on and missed. Strike 1. 2-1 count now on Williams. And wind up and the pitch. Going to be outside. 3-1 count now on Williams, the catcher. Wind up and the pitch. Going to be inside, ball 4. And that's going to put one out runner on for the Raiders, with Braden Keith, the pitcher, coming to the plate. Gardner checks the runner at first, winds and fires, and that's going to be a pass ball, as that's going to get the runner to second base. Keith's first time up, he grounded back to Gardner. Next pitch is going to be called strike. 1-1 count now on Keith. 1-1 count, 1 out. Runner at second base is Williams. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball to the second baseman, and nobody's there to cover, as that's going to be a base hit for Keith, as that was an in-between play there. First baseman Meadows done a great job getting over there, but the pitcher, Gardner, kind of had a little hesitation getting over there, so that'll be a base hit for Keith. That'll be first and third with 1 out. And the third baseman, Ellis, coming to the plate. Gardner. And they've got him in a pickle. And the throw down to home plate. Got him at home. Throw down to second, and he almost got him there at second. As the runner at first, Braden Keith, takes off on what he thought Peyton Gardner was going home. Throws it to second base, or to the shortstop, Carson Cohen. Cohen fires over to Meadows, and Meadows fires a dart to home plate to get the runner coming home from third base. And the first pitch to Ellis is called strike 1, as the Mavericks need 1 more out to get out of this inning. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be ball 1. 1-1 count now on the third baseman Ellis, with Braden Keith at second base and 2 outs. Gardner about to throw his 52nd pitch here. Gardner winds and fires, and it's going to be just on the outside corner. 2-1 count now on Ellis. Gardner looks into Taylor, has what he wants, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball, and that ball is just going to be foul. I mean, they say baseball is a game of inches, and ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call game of inches, as that ball just was on the outside of the third base bag. As now after that foul ball, we've got a 2-2 count, 2 outs. And the pitch from Gardner. And that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop, Cohen. Cohen's going to pick it up, fire to Meadows at first, and he's out at first. And that will end the top of the third as the Raiders take the lead on the Chase Shea solo shot. We'll be right back with the Mavericks coming to bat in the bottom of the third.
always be night.
And we're back here in the bottom of the third as it's going to be the leadoff batter, Carson Cohen, stepping in for the Mavericks in a deficit here, 2-1. As Liberty takes the lead on a Chase Shea solo shot in the top of the third. First pitch from Keith to Cohen, and he's on. As the first pitch is going to hit Cohen right in the ribs. Looks over at the dugout and tries to get him fired up. As like I said, the Mavericks know this is a big game here, as this is a regional game. You want to win every single regional game that you can. And now batting is going to be the center fielder, Cameron Chrislett, with Cohen on first. Pickoff move. And that pickoff move, the throw was so hard that it took the first baseman's sunglasses off his hat. Pretty sure it broke him. Cohen stays at first base. Left-handed first baseman over there. Wind up in the pitch. It's going to be low. And Cohen just gets back in there as Williams fires a rocket over there to first baseman Gano. Cohen just gets back under the tag as they throw a back pick, as that's going to be ball one on Cameron Chrislett. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be in the dirt, ball two. 2-0 count now on Cameron Chrislett with Carson Cohen at first base and nobody out. Cohen gets his lead, and that's going to be a ground ball through. That's going to be a base hit to left field. Cameron Chrislett, Cohen coming around third base, and he will get there safely at third, and Cameron Chrislett takes second on the throw in. So now 2 runners on, no outs. And the dangerous number 3 hitter, Peyton Gardner, stepping to the plate. Gardner looking to help himself here. Has struck out his first time up. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ball hit to the left field, and that's going to be a base hit. That's going to score Cohen. And Chrislett is called in a rundown as he's out at home plate. That's going to tie the ball game at 2. Gardner going to second. So that last play, Gardner gets a base hit to left field. Left fielder fires it in to the shortstop, Accord. And Accord guns down Cameron Chrislett going to home plate. But that ties the ball game as Carson Cohen scores. So 1 out, runner on second base, and Bryson Parker stepping to the plate. First pitch swung on a miss, strike 1. 0-1 count now on Bryson Parker with Gardner on second base. Gardner with a big lead at second. Pitch called, ball in the outside corner, 1-1 count. And wind up and the pitch, and that's going to be swung on and missed, strike 2. 1-2 count now on Parker. 48th pitch here for Keith. Wind up and a pitch. And that's going to be an off-speed pitch, swung on a miss, strike 3. As that's going to be 2 outs now, with Bailey Ridgway stepping to the plate. Ridgway grounded out to third base his first time up, 0 for 1 tonight. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, swung on a miss, strike 1. 0-1 count now on Ridgway. Go ahead run Gardner at second base with 2 outs. Pitch from Keith is going to be a changeup. That's going to be swung on a miss. 0-2 count now on Ridgway. Keith comes set, winds and fires just on the outside corner. 1-2 count now on Ridgway, as that was a little too close to take with 2 strikes there. Keith has his sign, comes set, winds and fires. That's called strike 3 on the outside corner. And that'll end the bottom of the third. Gardner with an RBI single ties it at 2. We'll be right back with the top of the fourth. And we're back here, top of the fourth inning in Linside. 2-2 ball game. First batter up is going to be Jordan Hodges. 0 for 1 this evening. First pitch from Gardner. Swung on a miss, strike one. 0-1 count now on Hodges. 7-8-9 coming up for Liberty. Next pitch from Gardner. Swung on a miss, strike two. 0-2 count now on Hodges. Gardner has assigned what he wants. Comes to the set. Winds and fires. Swung on a miss. Strike three. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, 1 out. Now batting is going to be the first baseman, Braylon Gano. 0 for 1 tonight as well. First pitch, outside, ball 1. And there goes the chase for the immaculate inning from Peyton Gardner. Gardner has the sign, winds and fires. Just on the outside. 2-0 count now on Gano. Wind up and the pitch. Inside. 3-0 now on Gano. Next pitch from Gardner is going to be in the dirt, ball 4. 4-pitch walk to the number 8 hitter, Gano. Now batting is going to be Cameron Accord. 0 for 1 as well. Gano gets his lead over there at first base. Gardner checks him. Winds and fires. Swung on a miss. Strike 1. 62nd pitch coming here for Gardner. Gardner winds and fires. Swung on a missed. 0-2 count now on Accord, the number 9 hitter. Gardner looks in for the sign. Has what he wants. Winds and fires. Fastball by him. Swung on a miss. Strike 3. Snap throw there to first base. Almost got Gano. Has 2 outs now with the leadoff batter. Parker Hodges stepping to the plate. 0 for 2. 3 straight left-handed batters here. You don't see that a lot in high school baseball. First pitch, outside, ball 1. Oh, 1 count now on Hodges. 2-0 count now. Count on the leadoff batter, Parker Hodges. Gardner fires over to first base. Just keeping him close there as he's back in there safe is Gano. 2-0 count, wind up and the pitch. High, and a pickoff throw. Snap throw over there to first base. Almost gets Gano sleeping there as he's back in safe. 3-0 count now on Parker Hodges. Pitch from Gardner. Called strike on the outside corner. 3-1 count. And that's going to be high, ball 4. And There's 2 outs. And the second baseman, Jay Accord, stepping to the plate, had a 9-pitch at bat his last time up. First pitch swung on him as strike 1. Next pitch, going to be behind the batter, and both runners are going to advance. That's going to be Gano and Hodges. Second and third, 2 outs. Two-one count on Gardner. Swung on a missed. 2-2 count now. Gardner's 77th pitch coming here this evening. Gardner has a sign, winds and fires, and he's going to be hit by a pitch, and that's going to bring up the center fielder, Chase Shea. Shea, last time up, hit a solo bomb to left field his first time up, and we're going to have a mound visit from the head coach, Tom Gardner. Two-two ball game here in the top of the fourth. Bases loaded with 2 outs. Mavericks desperately need to get out of this jam right here. But the dangerous Chase Shea, already 1 for 2 with a home run tonight, stepping into the plate. Gardner on 77 pitches so far on the evening. I mean, as a former baseball player, as a senior right here, this is exactly where the spot you want right here. If you're Peyton Gardner, the first pitch to Shea is going to be outside, ball 1, and the runners are definitely not going to advance with Shea at the dish. 1-0 count on Shea. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop, Cohen's going to pick it up, fire to first, and got him out at first base on a beautiful pick by Tyson Meadows. And the Mavericks are going to get out of the inning. No runs for the Raiders. 2-2 is our score. Mavericks coming to bat in the bottom of the fourth. And we're back here, bottom of the fourth inning. Liberty leaves 3 runners on in the top of the fourth. That's 9 runners left on base so far for the Raiders as the Mavericks defense steps up in a huge way. Chase Shea, the dangerous hitter, ground ball to Carson Cohen. Cohen fired over to first base Meadows, and Meadows made a heck of a pick to get the out. First batter up in the bottom of the fourth is going to be Levi Taylor. And he's going to foul off the first pitch, as it's going to be Taylor, Meadows, and Baker. Next pitch, swung on a miss, curveball. 0-2 count now on Taylor. Keith winds and fires. Swung on a miss, strike 3, fastball. 1 out. Now batting the first baseman, Tyson Meadows. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. First pitch from Keith is going to be in the dirt, ball 1. Meadows, first time up, took a questionable call at strike 3 as the ball looked like it hit the dirt. Next pitch from Keith, and that's going to be a ground ball. It's going to be a tough play by the shortstop. Shortstop fields it, fires over to first, and gets him by a couple steps, as that's going to be 2 outs. And now batting is going to be the right fielder, Jordan Baker. And the first pitch to Baker is going to be low, ball 1. 0-1 count, or 1-0 count here, as Keith's only thrown 58 pitches through 4 innings. Next pitch is going to be a ground ball back to Keith, and he's going to field it, flip it over to Gano, and that's going to be a quick inning, as that's going to be 3 outs. No runs, no hits, no errors. Mavericks and Raiders tied at 4, tied at 2, going to the top of the 5th. We'll be right back. Catching substitution. Russell went to catch and Levi went to third. And we're back here. Top of the 5th inning. Mavericks and Raiders both tied at 2. First batter up is going to be Williams. First pitch is going to be a pop fly. And that's going to be down for a base hit, as it's going to fall in between second baseman Tanner Johnson and the right fielder Jordan Baker. And that'll be a leadoff single for the Raiders. Did have a couple defensive substitutions for the Mavericks as Levi Taylor went from behind home plate to third base, and the third baseman Bryson Parker went behind the plate. First pitch to Gardner is going to be outside, ball one to the pitcher, Braden Keith. Williams gets his lead off first base. Gardner has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a base hit to right fielder Baker. Baker's going to pick it up, fire it in, and that's going to hold Williams to second base. But that's going to be 2 on with nobody out. And the third baseman, Ellis, coming to the plate. Don't know if I could speak it into existence, but I'd like to see a triple play right here. 2 on, nobody out. Gardner's first pitch to Ellis is going to be outside, called ball one. 83rd pitch of the evening for Gardner, as you can throw 110 in high school. Next pitch from Gardner to Ellis, and that's going to be fouled off. 1-1 count now on the third baseman for the Raiders, Ellis. Gardner sets and fires, and that's going to be a pass ball, and that's going to get the runners to second and third base with nobody out. Wind up and the pitch, and that's going to be high. 3-1 count now on Ellis. Gardner looks in, has what he wants, winds and fires. It's going to be low, ball 4, and that's going to load the bases with nobody out. Now batting is going to be Hodges, and the first pitch swung on a miss, strike one. 0 for 2 tonight is Hodges. That's going to be Jordan Hodges. Next pitch, swung on a miss, strike 2. 0-2 count now. Bases loaded, nobody out. And wind up and a pitch. Swung on a miss. Strike 3 on a changeup. 1 out. Now batting is going to be the first baseman, Braylon Gano. Gano 0 for 1 tonight. Wind up and a pitch. Inside, ball 1. One 1-0 count here on Gano, the number 8 hitter. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be fouled off. 1-1 count on Gano. Williams at third, Keith at second, Ellis at first. Nowhere to put Gano. Gardner has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be inside. 2-1 count as that ball squirted away by Bryson Parker, but he hustles to get it, so no runners advance. 94th pitch coming here for Gardner. Gardner winds and fires. That's going to be a ground ball to Meadows. Meadows is going to pick it up. Oh, he's going to almost make a beautiful play there. Tough hop there as he almost made a heck of a play, but the runner's going to score from third. And that's going to be 3-2 in favor of the Raiders as Gano is going to get on with a fielder's choice. And the number 9 hitter, Accord. This is Cameron Accord coming to the plate. First pitch from Gardner is going to be high, ball 1. Accord 0 for 2 tonight. Gardner winds and fires, and that's going to be a ground ball through, and that's going to score 2. And Cameron Accord is going to slide in there safe at second. As that's 3 home so far for the Raiders. Two runners on, second and third with 1 out. And the leadoff batter, Parker Hodges, coming to the plate. Mavericks desperately need a strikeout and an out. First pitch from Gardner, and it's going to be hit by a pitch. And Gardner's calling. And we're going to have a mound visit here from Gardner. As we have the bases loaded, 1 out. And the second baseman, Jay Accord, stepping in. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He had that 9-pitch at bat in his second plate appearance. Mavericks desperately need a ground ball hit to somebody here for a double play to get out of this inning, as 3 Raiders have come across so far. And the mound visit's over, and Gardner's going to stay in this ball game. As the infield's in for the Mavericks all the way around. And the first pitch to Accord is going to be popped up. That's going to be infield fly rule. And runner's going to be... And we've got a rundown here as he's going to be out at... And the ball is dead at the moment, as we've got a lot of confusion going on here. And we've got some confusion here as the last play was a pop-up with the bases loaded, and that was called an infield fly rule. And we're trying to see here if the runner from third scored. The umpires are having a conference here, so we'll get the call here in just 1 second. So after the conference here, I think the run is going to count at home plate, as the run did score before the third out was made. And that's going to bring your score 6-2 as the Raiders get 4 in the top of the fifth. Mavericks coming to bat in the bottom of the fifth. Looking to rally. We'll be right back.
He definitely got it.
Back here in Linside, bottom of the fifth inning coming up. Liberty takes the lead 6-2 as they score 4 in the top of the fifth. Last run was on a controversial play as the infield fly rule was called. And as an infield fly rule is called, the runners can advance on their own risk. The runner went home, and they threw the runner back out going from second to third in a rundown. So that's where we're at, as we're going to have the number 9 hitter, Tanner Johnson, leading off for the Mavericks here as they look to rally in the bottom of the fifth. First pitch from Keith is going to be fouled off. Strike one. Only 61 pitches so far for Keith. And wind up and pitch is going to be a base hit. And that'll be the leadoff runner on for the Mavericks. And that's just what they needed. And now the leadoff batter, a shortstop, Carson Cohen, stepping to the plate. Mavericks, just what they wanted there. Leadoff runner on, nobody out. And the top of the order coming up. And a pickoff move is going to be thrown wild, and Johnson's going to get to second base. No throw from the first baseman as he's going to walk it in. And runner in scoring position now for the Mavericks. Johnson, second base, with the top of the order coming up, and nobody out. Keith has the sign, winds and fires. High, ball one. Mavericks dugout getting a little bit loud here as they're trying to mount a comeback. Next pitch from Keith is going to be popped up by Cohen, and that's going to be a tough play. Right fielder's under it, and he will make the play, and he'll fire it into third base. As that was Jordan Hodges making the first out on the catch there in the bottom of the fifth. Now it's going to be Cameron Chrislett to the plate. Chrislett swings and misses, strike one. 0-1 count now on Chrislett. Keith has the sign, winds and fires in the dirt, ball one. 1-1 count now on Cameron Chrislett. Keith looks back at Johnson, winds and fires, and there's a bunt down the third baseline. That's a beautiful bunt, and that's going to be definitely a base hit there for Chrislett as Ellis comes in, tries to make the play, but even if he picks that up perfectly, I don't think he gets the speedster Chrislett at first base. So the Mavericks have 2 on with 1 out, and a number 3 hitter, Peyton Gardner, stepping to the plate. Chrislett gets his lead, and he's off on the first pitch. And pickoff move, and he just gets back in there safely. As Johnson just gets back in there as the catcher Williams fires it into Keith. Keith fires it over to Ellis, and Johnson just gets back in there safely. Pitch to Gardner is going to be outside. Got a 1-1 count now on Gardner. 2 runners in scoring position for the Mavericks. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a ball hit to left field. That ball is going to be back, and it's going to hit off the fence as that's going to score Johnson, and that's going to score Chrislett, safe. Gardner caught up in between for second and third, and he will get in there with a double. And that'll be 6-4 now as the Mavericks cut the lead. Down 2 with 1 out, and Gardner at second base with 1 out. Wind was blowing just a little bit harder. That ball might have got out of here. As we've got 1 out and runner at second base in Gardner with Bryson Parker stepping to the plate. First pitch from Keith to Parker, swung on a miss, strike one. Parker 0 for 2 tonight so far, looking to get a base hit here to make it a 6-5 ball game. Pitch from Keith is going to be in the dirt, and that's going to be a wild pitch, and that's going to get Gardner to third base. And we've got another time. Got another time there by the umpiring crew as the ball ricocheted over and hit the buckets that the Liberty Raider coaching staff is sitting on. And 9 times out of 10, you're supposed to be in the dugout. So we'll get the confirmation here in just 1 second. And he's going to stay at third base. as he's going to stay at third base. So we're going to have 1-1 count here on Parker. Gardner at third base with one out. Keith winds and fires, and Parker's going to pop that up. That ball's going to be in play. And it's going to drop in foul territory as Williams and Ellis both hustling over there. Try to make the play, and it'll drop in foul territory, giving Parker an extra life here. 1-2 count, one out. 72nd pitch coming up for Keith here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Wind up and a pitch. And that's going to be a pop-up that's going to be down. And that's going to score Gardner as Bryson Parker with a little bloop there over the shortstop. And that's going to bring this to a one-run ball game, 6-5 as the Mavericks score 3 so far. And they're still batting here in the bottom of the fifth. And we're going to have the courtesy runner, Dylan Anthony, coming in for the catcher, Bryson Parker. One out still. And the left fielder, Bailey Ridgway, stepping to the plate. Keith checks Anthony over, checks him again, winds and fires, and there's going to be a bunt. That's going to be a good sacrifice bunt, as that's going to get the runner over to second base. That's going to be 2 outs, and it's going to bring up Levi Taylor. Good sacrifice bunt there by Bailey Ridgway. 2 outs, tying run in scoring position for the Mavericks. Levi Taylor stepping in. He's batting right-handed this time, as he's a switch hitter. And first pitch is going to be fouled off. 0-1 count. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be, and the check swing. He did not go, as there was an appeal to the field umpire, and he didn't go. So 1 ball, 1 strike here, 2 outs. Pitch from Keith, swung on and missed. 1-2 count now on Taylor. Tying run at second base for the Mavericks. Keith looks into Williams. Has what he wants. Comes set, winds and fires, and that's going to be low. 2-2 count now on Taylor with Meadows on deck. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a foul ball, as that thing's going to be a rocket coming over here to the on-deck circle. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a curveball fouled off as Taylor's battling here. 6 pitch at bat here so far. Next pitch coming here from Keith. He's going to be outside, full count now, and Dylan's going to go to third, and he's going to get there safely. As a tying run now at third base. Pass ball, wild pitch could tie this ball game, as Dylan Anthony has a little bit of speed there at third base. 3-2 count, wind up, and the pitch fouled off as that hits the umpire's mask. That's going to be a full count once again. The 8th pitch of this at bat here for the freshman, Levi Taylor. Wind up and the pitch called. Ball 4 in the dirt.
Put it in play. Let's go.
And the ball's going to be thrown away.
Not now.
And Anthony checking there and gets back.
Keep your head in and swing.
And it looks like we're going to have another courtesy runner here. I don't know if this is going to be a straight switch because I don't know if you can courtesy run for anybody but the pitcher or catcher. So he's going to he'll re-enter, but Brody Barreras is now going to run at first base.
Put it in play. Let's go.
2 outs, runners on first and third. Meadows and Keith were both ready to play, and the home plate.
That weight. Let's go.
Home plate umpire was getting the substitutions in check here. So 2 outs, runners on first and third. Meadows at the plate. First pitch from Keith is going to be taken low, ball 1, as Barreras is going to take second on the defensive indifference. That's the go-ahead run there for the Mavericks at second base. 1-0 count now on Meadows. Keith winds and fires. Swung on a missed. 1-1 count now on Meadows.
Go swing, swing.
Coming up on the 86th pitch here for Keith. 1-1 count. Keith has the sign. Winds and fires. Curveball inside. 2-1 count now on Meadows. Keith has the sign. Winds and fires. Swung on a missed. 2-2 count now on Meadows. 2 outs. Runners on second and third. 6-5 ball game in favor of the Raiders. Bottom of the 5th. Wind up and the pitch. Curveball. Swung on a miss. Strike 3. And that will end the inning. Mavericks, plate 3. Make this a 6-5 ball game. We'll be right back. Liberty coming up in the top of the 6th. All right, we are back here, top of the 6th inning. Few substitutions for the Mavericks. As now on the mound is going to be Bodie Ziegefuss. Peyton Gardner goes from the mound to third base. And we've got a 6-5 ball game here in the top of the 6th inning. First batter up for the Raiders. It's going to be a tough competition here for Bodie Ziegefuss, as it's going to be Chase Shea. And the umpire behind home plate was ready to go, but forgot to put his mask on. So a little bit of a delay here, but now he's ready, got his mask on, got his face protected, and we are ready for baseball. First pitch from Ziegefuss is going to be swung on and fouled off by Shea. As we've learned from Ziegefuss coming in, he throws a lot of strikes. Freshman pitcher in a big spot right here. Wind up and the pitch. Going to be fouled off. 0-2 count now on Shea. As it's going to be Shea, Williams, and Hodges. No, Ellis. I'm sorry. Next pitch from Ziegefuss. Oh, that looked right at the letters, but called a ball. 1-2 count now on Shea, as that was way too close to take on 2 strikes. Next pitch from Ziegefuss. Outside. 2-2 count now. Wind up and the pitch. Swung on a miss. Strike 3. Parker picks it up, fires over to Meadows, and 1 out. Big out there by Ziegefuss as he strikes out Shea. Raider hitter's going to have to get used to going from 73 to 75 miles an hour down to about 60 to 62. Now batting is going to be Williams, the catcher. First pitch from Ziegefuss is going to be high, ball 1. 1-0 count. Mavericks desperately need a 1-2-3 inning right here. Next pitch from Ziegefuss. Called strike right down the middle. 1-1 count. One count here on Williams. Next pitch from Ziegefuss. Swung on a miss. Strike 2. 1-2 count now on Williams. Ziegefuss has the sign. Winds and fires. Swung on a miss. Strike 3. 2 batters faced, 2 strikeouts. The number 3 and number 4 hitters both strike out. Now batting is going to be the pitcher, Braden Keith. Keith 2 for 3 tonight, so tough out at the plate, along with pitching a pretty decent game. First pitch. Fouled off, strike 1. 0-1 count on Keith. Ziegefuss winds and fires, and that's going to be a base hit right up the middle. As that's going to be, like I said, 3 for 4 night so far for Keith, as he's been a tough out for the Mavericks. Now batting is going to be the third baseman, Logan Ellis. Two outs, runner on first base in Keith. Zigafus checks the runner. Keith at first. Winds and fires. Called. Strike one right down Broadway. 0-1 count now on Ellis. Zigafus comes set. Winds and fires. Fouled off. 0-2 count. Foul tip there. Zigafus walks all the way down to get his own ball, collect his thoughts, and is getting ready to throw his 14th pitch here in relief. 0-2 count on Ellis. 2 outs, runner at first base. Wind up and the pitch high. And that ball is going to get by, and that's going to bring Keith over to second base. 1-2 count now on Ellis. Runner in scoring position for the Raiders. Keith at second base with some good speed. Zigafus winds and fires in the dirt. 2-2 count now. Good pitch location as the umpire has called that a strike a couple of times here tonight so far. 2-2 count. Wind and fire just outside. Full count. Zigafus has the sign. Winds and fires just outside. Be 2 on with 2 out. And the batter is going to be the right fielder, Jordan Hodges. Wind up and a pitch is going to be a ground ball to the shortstop, Cohen. Cohen's going to pick it up, fire over to Taylor at second, and that's going to be the 3rd out. No runs for the Raiders. Still in a 6-5 ball game. Raiders on top. Mavericks coming to bat here in the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back. All right, we are back here. Bottom of the 6th inning. 8-9-1 coming up for the Mavericks. 6-5 ball game in favor of the Raiders. First pitch from Keith to Baker is going to be fouled off. Strike one. Next pitch is going to be popped up to, that's going to be a little bit of trouble here. Oh, as Hodges is going to step back, make the play, and that's going to be 1 out. Now Now batting is going to be Bodie Ziegefuss. First pitch is going to be fouled off. Strike one. 91st pitch coming here for Keith. Ziegefuss takes outside, 1-1 count. Number 9 hitter Ziegefuss at the plate. Cohen, the leadoff batter, on deck. Next pitch is going to be down low. 2-1 count now on the number 9 hitter Ziegefuss. Mavericks looking to get a runner on here. Wind up and a pitch. Low, ball 3. 3-1 count now on Ziegefuss with Cohen on deck. And we're back here after the few headlights in center field. 3-1 count. And that's going to be a base hit by Ziegefuss. As the number 9 hitter, Ziegefuss, is on base. Comes on in relief for pitching. Does pretty good in the top of the 6th inning against the heart of the order for the Raiders. And in the bottom of the 6th, comes in first at bat. Laces a single to left field. 1 out, 1 on. And Carson Cohen coming to the plate. Cohen 1 for 2 tonight. Going to be the 95th pitch coming here. Wind up and a pitch. Swung on a miss. Strike one. Ziegefuss, sizable lead over there at first base. Keith has the sign, winds and fires. Swung on a miss. Strike two. 0-2 count now on Cohen. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be popped up to the first baseman, Gano, and that's going to be caught in the swirling winds here in the inside for the second out. Two outs now, and the number 2 hitter, center fielder Cameron Chrislett, coming to the plate with the tying run at first base. Keith sitting on 98 pitches so far this evening. Not very many more left. First pitch to Chrislett is high, ball 1. And I would say Keith's looking in that on-deck circle as well because Peyton Gardner looms if Chrislett gets on. Next pitch is going to be popped up, and that's going to get out of play. 1-1 count now on Cameron Chrislett, as Keith has just hit the century mark in pitches at 100. 1-1 count. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, swung on a missed. 1-2 count now on Cameron Chrislett. Ziegefuss on first base. Keith comes set, winds and fires, and that's going to be a pass ball. It's going to get Ziegefuss to second base. Chrislett 2 for 3 tonight so far, so base hit's going to score the tying run at second base as there's 2 outs, 2-2 count. And Keith is about to throw his 103rd pitch. And once again, we had a few lights flick on in center field, but we're back to action here. Keith wind up and the pitch, and that's going to be fouled off. 2-2 count still. And with that foul ball, we're out of baseballs. So umpire needs to get refilled here. Coach Gardner will throw the ball into the pitcher, and we are ready for action once again. 2-2 count. 2 outs. 6-5 ball game in favor of the Raiders. Bottom of the 6th here in the regional matchup. Keith has the sign, winds and fires, and that's going to be a curveball on the inside corner, called strike 3. And that's going to end bottom of the 6th. Mavericks leave 1, still down 6-5. We're going to the top of the 7th. We'll be right back. And we're back here, top of the 7th inning. Mavericks desperately need to put a 0 on the board here, as it's going to be the 8-9-1 hitters for the Raiders. Leading off is going to be the first baseman, Braylon Gano, 1 for 2 tonight. Zigafus on the mound in his 2nd inning of relief work. First pitch is called strike 1. 0-1 count on Gano. Wind up and a pitch. Swung on a miss. Strike 2. 0-2 count now on Gano. Zigafus winds and fires. And that's going to be a ground ball. Nice play there by Zigafus. Picks it up, fires over to Meadows. 1 out. Now batting is going to be the number 9 hitter. And he hit a single last time. 2-run single is going to be Cameron Accord. First pitch. Swung on a miss. Strike 1. One thing we've come to know from Zigafus is he likes to start the batters 0-1. Next pitch. Fouled off, 0-2. Mavericks can put a 0 on the board here. They'll have Gardner, Parker, and Ridgway coming in the bottom of the 7th. Next pitch from Zigafoo. Swing on a miss. Strike 3. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 7th. And the leadoff hitter, Parker Hodges, coming to the plate. First pitch from Zigafoo. Low, ball 1. One-0 count here on Parker Hodges, the leadoff batter, 0 for 2 tonight so far. Wind up and the pitch. Inside corner, called strike 1. 1-1 count now on Hodges. Wind up and a pitch. Inside, 2-1 count now. Two-one count now on Hodges. Wind up and a pitch. That's going to be a ground ball right back up the middle for a base hit. As good try by the shortstop, Carson Cohen getting dirty, but it just got by him. So 1 on with 2 outs, and Jay Accord coming to the plate. If you're the Mavericks here, you definitely want to get this out right here because you do not want to see Chase Shea come to the plate. First pitch from Zigafoo is going to be popped up, and that's going to be in play. And little miscommunication there by Meadows and Parker. And that ball is going to fall in foul territory, 0-1. As I think Parker said he got it, Meadows said he got it, and just a little miscommunication, but hopefully nothing's going to happen here. Zigafoo comes set. Winds and fires, runner going. Parker's throw to shortstop, and he's going to be in there safely. As Hodges is in at second base. Big insurance run out there for the Raiders. Mavericks want to hold him right there. 1-1 count. Zigafoo comes set, winds and fires, and that's a ground ball to the third baseman Gardner. Picks it up, fires over to Meadows, and that's an out. 3 outs. Mavericks coming to bat. Got a rally here in the bottom of the 7th. We're going to have Gardner, Parker, and Ridgway when we come back. Parker. Bottom of the 7th inning. Mavericks have exactly who they want at the plate. Leading off in the bottom of the 7th is going to be Peyton Gardner, followed by Bryson Parker and Bailey Ridgway. First pitch from Keith is going to be a fly ball deep center field. And that ball is going to be down. That's going to be a leadoff double for Peyton Gardner. As the tying run is at second base, nobody out. That ball just kept drifting and drifting and drifting. Center fielder first looked like he was right under it. Looked back, seen the fence, and that ball one hops the fence once again. So no outs, and the tying run is at second base with the cleanup hitter, Bryson Parker, stepping to the plate. First pitch from Keith is down low. Good block by the catcher there. As that's 106 pitches so far for Braden Keith. Only 4 more left, and then they have to pull him. Lined up, and the pitch swung on a miss. Strike one. 1-1 count now on Parker. Gardner, sizable lead off second base. Second baseman creeping in there. Gardner gets a little bit more of a lead. Swung on, strike two. 1-2 count now on Bryson Parker. Gardner, sizable lead at second base. Pitch. And that's a base hit down the right field line. That's gonna tie the ball game. As 1-2 count, Bryson Parker comes through with a rip down the right field line, and that is gonna tie your ball game. And the Mavericks have a chance to walk this one off, as we're going to have Dylan Anthony coming in to run for Bryson Parker with no outs. And looks like we're going to have a pitching change here, as Braden Keith is going to leave with 109 pitches, and looks like the center fielder, Chase Shea, is going to come to the mound. To do the relief pitching. So to recap the top of the 7th here, had the senior Peyton Gardner leading off. He hits a fly ball that keeps traveling, and ends up with a leadoff double to center field. And on a 1-2 count, freshman Bryson Parker takes one to the right field line and scores Gardner to tie this ball game. Dylan Anthony checks in to run for Bryson Parker, and you have Bailey Ridgway coming up first with nobody out, and the winning run at first base for the Mavericks. You're going to have Ridgway, then it's going to be Taylor and Meadows if we get that far. Anthony over there at first base. And after the pitching change, we are back to action here. Tie ball game, 6-6. Bottom of the 7th, nobody out. And the winning run at first base for the Mavericks. On the legs of Dylan Anthony, the pinch runner, courtesy runner for the catcher. First pitch to Ridgway, low, ball one. A 1-0 count to Ridgway is inside. 2-0 as Ridgway's doing nothing but trying to put down a sacrifice bunt. 2-0 count now on Ridgway. Shea comes set, winds and fires, ball three. 3-0 count now on Ridgway with Anthony at first base, nobody out. That's the winning run over there at first base for the Mavericks. A wind up and a pitch. Inside, ball four, and that moves the winning run into scoring position to second base. Now batting is going to be first the catcher, then he moved to third base. Now he's the second baseman, Levi Taylor, with the winning run at second base. Taylor 0 for 1 tonight. Ridgway at first base, Anthony at second, first pitch. And there's a beautiful bunt down the first base line. And that's going to be a base hit for Taylor, as that's going to be bases loaded, nobody out. And Tyson Meadows coming to the plate.
Just contact.
Bases loaded, nobody out. The only run that matters is the runner at third base in Anthony, so a pass ball you got to watch here. First pitch from Shea to Meadows, swung on a miss, strike one.
Keep your chin down.
0-1 count now on Meadows. A wind up and a pitch fouled off. 0-2.
Anything close, you got to protect.
0-2 count now on Meadows. Nobody out, bases loaded. Infield is in for the Raiders, except for the first baseman. Wind up and a pitch. Curveball outside. Swung on a missed. One out. Now batting's going to be right fielder Jordan Baker with one out, and the bases are still loaded. Tie ball game. First pitch from Shea is going to be outside, ball one. As the Raiders might have had a chance at a pickoff play at third base, but the shortstop was late getting over there. 1-0 count, nowhere to put Baker. Wind up and a pitch, swung on a missed. 1-1 count now on Baker. One count, wind up and a pitch. And that's going to be a wild pitch, and that's going to be a walk-off, and the Mavericks win 7-6. Mavericks win on a walk-off, wild pitch. Dylan Anthony coming halfway down the line, a suicide squeeze goes wrong, pass ball, and the Mavericks come back and win 7-6 on a regional game. And that will do it here in Linside, as once again the Mavericks take a win 7-6. Mavericks have a busy week next week. We'll be back next week.